another edition of Lawton Connect, where your communications and marketing team brings you some really exciting updates. And I'm really excited about this episode in particular because we're talking about CIP projects. It's been something that you've probably seen and heard a lot of. So today we're going to be hearing from the Deputy City Manager, Dewayne Burk, who's been really, it seems, spearheading at least the hard part of the CIP, which is all of the finances, which is, it sounds really scary.
It's a little bit daunting.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. So whenever we're talking and thinking about the CIP, for those that don't know, what exactly is the CIP, and frankly, why do our citizens need to care?
So the CIP is basically it's a financial planning program that allows municipalities to plan for capital improvements, which those are large-scale construction type projects, roads, bridges, public buildings, infrastructure improvements, and things like that.
Okay, and so earlier this week, Monday, Lawton City Council met and they kind of got an update on our CIP projects and made some decisions on those. Really exciting to hear that Lawton Animal Welfare can go out for bid. So talk to us about that project, what it means to go out for bid, and maybe even the timeline of when folks can start seeing some dirt moved.
So we're definitely excited about animal welfare. The past year it's been under design. The architecture firms have been putting all that stuff together, making sure that they stay within the allocated budget for that amount. For that project. They're at 100% completion, which that's the first step. Once you get it all designed, then you get it in front of the council. They get to see the project, what it's going to look like, ask questions, and then ultimately they direct staff to start the bid process. So once the bid process is completed, they'll evaluate all the bids, pick a contractor to actually build the project. We'll approve that, and then we'll have a groundbreaking and watch it go up. So
exciting. So talk to us about the dollar amount that was on animal welfare.
So the budgeted amount in the CIP was $5 million for the facility. We also had a designated fund within the city that adoption fees and stuff go to that. So scheduled, it's 5 to 5.5 million. I think it's going to come in, from what I'm hearing, maybe just under 5 million, which is also a good sign that we're doing our part and making sure that we stick to the budget. And
just the scope of this project and being able to bring the facility from where it is now, which is out to the public works yard area, and where is it going now, and what are some of the amenities that our animals and citizens can look forward to?
So that's a good point. Historically, our Animal Welfare Center has been down at the Public Works Yards, kind of out of sight, out of mind. The new location is going to be at 17th and Lee, which is a former fire department facility that they basically don't use anymore. So we're going to repurpose that building and then add on a significant portion or structure to that will allow us to not only expand what we're doing, but we'll give it a little new life, if you will, in the community, because it'll be on a prominent street that people get to see every day as they drive by. And I think it really brings and shines a light on the fact we have this new adoption center, and we're just excited for it.
Yeah, that's awesome. A lot of things to be excited for, including the Lawton Youth Sports Complex. This is also a huge undertaking. So this is going to be out on the east side, just west of MacArthur High School. Talk to me about funding for this project and really, again, big project. Just tell me about it. Big project,
long time project.
Yeah.
This thing's been on the books for many years. I mean, it started years ago when the idea first was brought to the council and it was approved. We were looking at a much smaller footprint for what that facility was going to look like. And as trends and things happen, in communities, there's been a lot of focus really into the sports program as to what does Lawton really need? Our youth sports programs, we typically use Lawton Public School facilities, so you got to work around those schedules and the conflicts, and then it just, with the trend going to more of a all-inclusive, large-scale indoor facility, and then I think the Youth Sports Authority had a lot of foresight in looking into how can we enhance this and make this a destination where people want to come and participate. There's some really good things about the facility that we're going to be able to share with Lawton Public Schools. We have a partnership with them, so that'll continue. But budget-wise, we're looking at $40 million on initial investment, and that'll get us basically the indoor facility, which I think it has 8 basketball courts and 2 indoor soccer fields, turf fields, that can be used for futsal and other things. But we're really excited. Once they complete that portion, we'll continue to look for more funding to be able to build out the rest of the outdoor facilities. They're looking at, I think, 5 sets of multi-purpose turf fields that can be used for football, soccer, baseball, softball.
Wow.
Lots of different things.
And you mentioned the Sports Authority. So the Lawton Youth Sports Authority, of course, has a huge part in this. So can you explain their part and the city's part, and kind of how we're working together to make this happen?
So the Sports Authority was created by the council. They felt like we needed an oversight committee, if you will, to address the declining youth sports programs that we had in the city. Back in the old days, there was booster clubs, and the school system really had a bigger piece of the participation, or at least the encouragement of the participation through the use of booster clubs. And as those went away, we kind of lost a little bit of that connection with the community, and the numbers fell off. They declined. Since that time, we put in the Youth Sports Authority, and they've kind of taken the reins of that program. They've hired a contractor to come in and manage those events, and I think, as one would expect, since they're going to be managing it, they had basically the majority of the design and
Right.
Scheduling and all of that for the sports facility.
Yep, and then some of those renderings I saw, it had the City of Lawton, but it also had our Kids First logo on it, and really that's what it's all about, so love to see that on there. Another great piece of the CIP is the Elmer Thomas Boardwalk and Amphitheatre. Dwayne, looking at these renderings, it's like we're going to be just lakeside strolls, outdoor concerts. Again, the renderings are beautiful enough that it can even be a wedding venue. This is so exciting. So what really is the vision here? And talk to us about funding on this project as well.
Well, I mean, when you look around the state, in Tulsa, Oklahoma City, you look and you see these large regional, we'll call them premier parks, where they've got, they just blow you away. There's so many things to do, and we hear a lot about there's nothing to do in Lawton, and our parks have been neglected for a long time, and we've really put a major focus on revamping the park structures, the play structures in those parks. We're installing splash pads around the city in some of the parks. But this particular park, Elmer Thomas Park, is supposed to be, and we've always kind of regarded it as the crown jewel of the city. But there's always complaints, not enough shade, there's things that we can make it better. Around the lake and the access to the water, it's always kind of been restricted. So this plan, and this may be my favorite project of all of them, and because it's for everyone, young and old. There's something there for everybody, and I think with the location of Elmer Thomas Park being basically on the front doorsteps of the city, as you come into the community, it's really going to set the tone for what people can expect to see. So we're hoping that it helps us turn the corner and really become this destination, or a community where families thrive, as we like to say. And so, yeah, we're super excited for it to get there.
And there are a lot of pieces, it seems like, also to that project. I mean, kind of just the lake area, there's the fitness tower. Talk to me about some of your favorite amenities that would be coming to the park.
So one of the things that we're going to do is we're going to clean out the lake. A lot of people don't know that, but part of this project includes draining and dredging the lake out and reworking the entire shoreline. Wow. It's going to have a large pedestrian bridge that goes across the center of it with some fishing piers and things of that nature. Hopefully we're going to get some help from the Department of Wildlife Conservation on some of those. But the boardwalk itself creates an atmosphere of being close to the water, access to the water through the boathouse and the ability to rent, paddle boats or, little smaller watercraft. That will be there. We've never allowed that before, and so this is kind of a new thing. But I like the fact that we're really kind of integrating a lot of the design as a Southwest Oklahoma theme. We're going to stay consistent with Lawton and the Wichita Mountains. I mean, you're going to see limestone rock in there. There'll be some waterfalls that's associated with it, with some nature trails and things like that, with streams that flow through. I think it's going to be a great place if somebody wants to do family photographs. Yeah. If they've got small events that they want to have, receptions. I see a lot of people getting engaged out there. I really do feel like that's going to be a spot where people are going to go and you never know. Maybe there'll be somebody that gets married out there. We'll see.
Very cool. And so the other piece of this is the amphitheater. Everybody goes out there, of course, and a lot of us are sitting on that incline watching the fireworks at Freedom Festival.
Yeah, our current amphitheater is a little bit to be desired.
We make do.
Yeah, we made it work. As the community continues to support the festivals and the things that we have going out there, mainly the Freedom Festival, that's our largest event of the year, obviously, and the focus is right there in the current amphitheater. Has a drainage ditch that runs right through the center of it. This is going to remove all of that, and we're going to rework that. This will be a state-of-the-art amphitheater. To give you some comparison or something that you can, if you've ever been around the zoo amphitheater, this amphitheater is going to be a little bit bigger than that. Okay. It's going to have the capacity to hold enough people that we can actually have some nice-sized concerts. And so we're excited about that.
Very cool. And of course, hopefully adding parking.
Yep, we're going to add a couple parking places or parking lots, I guess I should say. I don't think that, and I know there's a concern out there with the citizens about, ruining the park by putting parking lots in there. And I don't think that's going to be the case. I think the footprint of those parking lots is going to be minimal with what we have to supply for the park itself. But we're also going to include a food truck area next to the amphitheater, which will help support all the events that we do there. Yeah,
and just the amount of trees that we're going to be planting, like you mentioned earlier, still trying to just keep that nature element out there.
Yeah, it's the trees for the shade, and more so for just the nature. I don't know if you would call it a naturescape, but the shade, the color that it brings with the changing of the leaves in the fall. And then there'll be shades around the structure as well. So.
Okay. And I know that we've spent a lot of time on the boardwalk and amphitheater, but a couple more questions. Talk to me about funding for this. And is this also going to have to be one of those projects that's kind of phased in?
Yeah, the total project for the park improvements is about $40 million, but we're starting out with we got allocated up to $24 million to start the first phase of it. That will take care of the lake, redoing the lake, the bridge, the boardwalk itself. Hopefully we're going to be able to do the waterfall and the naturescape trails around it. You're going to see several bridges around the lake, and we're going to complete the north walkway or pathway around the north side of the lake, and there'll be some monuments around there. The Lawton, we call it the Lawton Monument, but it's a big giant Lawton sign. Okay. And it's going to be really neat.
Very cool. All right, so one of the other there were so many projects on Monday that we talked about. Well, one thing that I want to touch briefly on, council approved $7.8 million for the Museum of the Great Plains, just to kind of repair it, really. And so that's going to be another big undertaking.
Yeah, the museum is, it's kind of one of those diamonds in the community that a lot of people maybe don't know or hadn't been there. I would encourage anyone that's interested to go and pay them a visit. It's a neat place. Whenever that project was put together, the budget for it was initially $6 million. What we found is, because of the enormous number of artifacts and the delicacy of those, we needed to budget some additional funding so that we can properly stow those and store them, if you will, while that construction is being done. And it takes a special way, I guess, if you will, trained people to be able to pack that stuff up. I went over there and took a tour of that facility, and I was blown away by the number of artifacts, the things that's not even really on display that are there. It's incredible.
For sure. So a lot of things that the communications and marketing team will certainly be updating everybody on as all of those come to fruition. Dewayne, there's also an item on the November 11th Lawton City Council meeting pertaining to a financing package for all of this. So when citizens see that on the agenda, what exactly does that mean?
So that's basically staff bringing back at the direction of the council, a finance plan to pay for all of these projects. Okay. The CIP generates revenue on an annual basis, but it doesn't generate all the revenue at once. We're under the 2040 CIP or Propel CIP extension, which carries the tax out to 2040. But if you wait to do all the projects toward the end, when all the money is available, then the inflation eats up the majority of your budget, and it likely will cost you more. So what we do is we try to secure low interest financing through our banking institutions that helps us pay for the projects on the front side, and it's a win-win for the community because we get to do the projects a little bit earlier in the process, but we have to finance them, and if things work like we believe that they will, we'll be able to do them cheaper because we won't have to fight the inflationary rates as we move down the line. Okay,
makes sense. All right, well, is there anything else that you want to add?
I'm just excited we're getting them moving. I think it's a great day, and we're doing all the roads, and we've got bridges under construction. You can't look anywhere in the city and not see something new that's happening. Our community is growing, and I think we get done with all these projects, Lawton's going to have a completely different look.
And it's just so exciting to be a part of all of this. So Dewayne, thank you so much for your time this morning. And once again, I know that we kind of touched on a lot of different projects, but this isn't even all of them. We still have the library renovations, park improvements, so much more. So we'll make sure to continue to keep you updated on that progress. Also, the next Lawton City Council meeting happening Tuesday, November 11th, in the Wayne Gilley Auditorium starting at 6 p.m. We will hope to see you there. Until then, be safe and stay connected.